Hi, this is John Ondo from Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. We're back after being gone for over 4.5 years. And I hope you get a chance to listen to episode 77, where we explain why we were gone for so long and that we're back for at least 3 more episodes. Angel and I are big supporters of entrepreneurship, and we love small businesses and faith-based businesses. And we just want to encourage you through our podcast each week. What's going to determine if we continue with more episodes will be the response. Subscribe to us on your platform. Send us an email at john@ondomedia.com. That would help us know you're listening and you want more episodes. So thank you so much, and let's get into today's episode. So you're going to do your thing here at the top, so I'm just making sure you know.
You're going to have to lead me in to say it, because I'm going to be like, oh, okay.
I will do that, okay.
This is the small business podcast that is sweeter than all the rest. Marketing, media, and cupcakes.
Welcome to episode 9 of Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes. I'm John Ondo, and with me is my wife, Angel.
Hi there.
And we are a small business podcast for small businesses, by small businesses, about small businesses. And Angel has a full-time gig she does customer service, but she has a cupcake business that's on the side. I have a media production business on the side. And tonight, we're going to talk about the F word. We're going to talk all about the F word tonight. And in a moment, my guest will be on to talk about the F word. And you're going to, if you want to find out what we're talking about, we'll get it to in a second. But first, let's talk about another F word, food. So I've asked Angel on our podcast to begin giving us like a cooking tip. I said, how about a recipe? And she looked at me like,
you can't give a recipe with the time we've got.
Okay.
You don't have that kind of time.
So again, because I don't know food, I married somebody who is a great chef, but I don't know anything about this stuff. So you're going to give us the tip of the day, a tip for us with baking?
Baking specifically,
okay.
Yes. So the tip I have for those of you who may not bake like I do, or who choose to use box mixes, which are totally acceptable.
Is that like a box set with an album? No,
not quite. Okay. Not quite. But if you're making a lovely Betty Crocker, Duncan Hines, Pillsbury, or your Aldi brand, whatever you're making, and if it's a chocolate cake and or a chocolate brownie or anything of the chocolate persuasion, whatever amount of water it calls for, substitute that water for coffee. Whether it's
so wait a minute. You're saying no water. If it says water, use coffee instead.
Correct. So if it calls for a 1/4 cup of water, use a 1/4 cup of coffee. It calls for a cup of water, use a cup of coffee. It can be day-old coffee. You can make instant coffee. You can throw your Keurig pot in on something nasty someone gave you.
But that sounds like it's going to taste like coffee, though.
It will not taste like coffee, because those who may listen to this and know anything about baking, who will know that coffee makes chocolate taste more like chocolate.
Okay.
So you don't really taste the coffee.
So it just gives it more flavor.
It just gives it more flavor. And especially if you're using a cheaper or lower grade cocoa or a lower grade kind of box mix, maybe something from Jiffy for $1 or 25 cents. Sorry, Jiffy. But
now we're going to get sued on our 9th episode.
It'll increase the flavor of the chocolate, and you will not know it's coffee. So for those of you who don't like coffee, I can assure you, you'll never know there's coffee in it.
So substitute 1-for-1 coffee for water.
You got it.
Anything chocolate. Now, if you do this in vanilla, you're going to mess it up. Wouldn't work.
I don't know what it would do. I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to have the same impact.
So, good tip. If you like these tips, you want more, the email address you can use to contact us is john@ondomedia.com, john@ondomedia.com, and I'll put some of this on the links and everything like that. So, we've kind of covered one F word today, which was food, but we're going to talk about another set of F words today, and we're very excited. This is our in-studio guest today, our good friend, a man who actually married us.
Yes!
Rob Yanok is with us. He's also Hungarian, which if you've ever wondered what's Ondo, it's Hungarian. Yanok is Hungarian.
Yes.
So this is your Hungarian. I'll make sure I hashtag Hungarian podcast today. So
absolutely. The Hungarian brothers.
There we go. So Rob does everything. He's a speaker. He's a coach. He is an author. And you were just telling you were doing some CEO motivational stuff recently.
Yeah, I did about 45 of them here in Columbus, and we actually talked about this subject because, You're not successful unless you have failed.
Ooh, that's the F word, isn't it?
That's the F word. And we've got to learn to deal with it and realize that it's learning experience and it works for us, not against us.
Well, when we're talking about small business and really anything in life, I think all of us struggle at times. I know I've had my small business for about 10 years. And I'll be honest, a week doesn't go by that I'm like, why did I do this? I could go out and get a regular job, probably make more money. I would not be as happy. But I think, I'm not driving around in Maseratis or anything crazy. I'm working hard. And then you think, well, have I failed? Is this good? You think, I think, if you're like me, you think, I don't know how you are, hon, but I'm like a constant, did I do that wrong? Am I messing up on that?
Well, I'm 51 years old and still want to know what I want to do with the rest of my life. I've had a job for 26 years. I've started this small business, but I'm still not convinced this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. So do I consider it a failure? Not yet. But, mistakes have been made and you learn from those mistakes and you move on.
So, Rob, tell me a little bit about what's the book. Let's talk about the kind of getting into the book. It's the ultimate comeback.
Yeah, your ultimate comeback. How to get up when life knocks you down, when relationships knocks you down, when you make a dumb business decision and you fall down. That's what it's about.
What made you want to write this book? Was there something specific? Because you're Mr. Positive. You're Mr. You're the typical motivational guy where everything's positive, and you're writing a thing about coming back from a failure.
Well, 23 and a half years. I pastored a church, a couple different churches. I have dealt with people, and most of the time when people came to me, they were in trouble.
Right.
Things were a mess. Hardly ever having a meeting with somebody when they called for an appointment was it good.
Hey, so Rob, we made extra money. Here's money for the church. That
never happened. No. But and so I have learned to deal with people's failures. I've learned to deal with my own failures. I've made stupid decisions. Other people made dumb decisions that caused me to mess up or make dumb decisions. And we've all tried different businesses and ideas, and some worked and some didn't work. And so this idea of failure, it's like what Thomas Edison said. He said, I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work.
That's a great quote. Yeah.
So one of my favorites.
But it was the way he looked at it. Mm-hmm. And my idea was, anytime somebody came to me about messing up, failed marriage, whatever, I never overreacted. I never reacted at all. I would just say, okay, we're going to get through this. You're going to get back up again. You don't have to stay there. So my whole life, my whole personality, I'm a possibilitarian. Ooh. I believe in hope. I believe circumstances and situations can change. And so what I want to teach people is, all right, so you've made some dumb decisions that, okay, you failed or you've fallen, whatever it is. It's time to get back up. Because LeBron James said, you have to be able to accept failure to get better.
That and it's something, as we've talked about different things. One of the things I struggle with is when you're doing, in my case, video production. You've got a client, you're trying to make them happy, and then maybe you get a call back from them, and they say, "Oh, John, we know that's what we want. We asked you to do, but it's just not happening. It's just not working for us." And I feel like I failed. I thought I got this right. But a lot of times I find, and this is hard for me because I can mope around, and she knows I'll mope around. Like, oh, I got it wrong. But I find a lot of times when I go back in and they say, hey, tweak these things, and my first reaction is, this is a dumb idea. This won't. But when I tweak it, I find out that the collaboration of their idea with my idea, we end up with a better product.
Right.
And, so I don't know how much that ties into, some of the principles in the book, but a lot of times we sit back and we think, oh, I didn't get what I want, therefore it's failed. But really, you could create something much better when you get some input from other people, and you can create something that's even better. Oh,
John, I have an entire chapter on that in my book.
Would.
Yeah. And it's this, who's in your corner? We are not meant to do things on our own. There are no self-made millionaires or billionaires. No. Mm-hmm. We've gotten where we are at because of other people. whether we offered a product and other people purchased it. That's how, I mean, Bill Gates is successful. Yes, he came up with a product, but if nobody purchased the product, he wouldn't have been successful. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. Who we are connected to, the net works. The networks. It really does. So the idea of failing, I love the idea in sports. And I talk a lot about it in my book because I've watched these teams lose a Super Bowl. Yes, they're disappointed. But you know what they're doing? They're working on what they're going to do next year. What are they going to do next season? They don't hold themselves hostage to their failure. And I believe we talk to people all the time that they hold themselves hostage because they messed up or they failed or they tried something that didn't work. You know, they tried this business and they fell flat on their face. And so they're like, maybe I'm not meant to be in business. No, I think everybody's got something great to offer the world. It's just finding it, you know. What would happen? Here's a question that was posed to me at 6:30 this morning. What would happen if people did not go look for work, but actually went to look for their passion? What would happen if we start doing things that we were passionate about and don't give 2 cents or 2 minutes to things that we're not? You know what? We may have to fail a few times to get there, but we're going to get there.
Yeah. There'd be nobody picking up trash either. Well, that's okay. You know,
that's
I
true.
think. I mean, and I agree with that, and I love that, and that's why I said I'm the age that I am, and still don't know what do I really want to do with my life. You know, I fell into the job that I have, and found out that I have a niche for it, and I'm good at it, and I'm like, okay, so being nice to people I can get paid for. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I can explain things very well to people, so that worked out nicely as well. But, you know, what's your passion? And I speak that to my son. What is it you're passionate about? Find that thing. I said, and if you can't find that thing right now, being all of 19 years old, then go find a job, a thing that at least gets you out of bed because you know you're going to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
So you have to, you know, there's different parts of people in their life. You have to figure out, what do I need right now?
Yeah.
Because I think part of that is everyone thinks that failure is forever. That one failure will follow you forever. And it won't. It doesn't have to.
No.
If you're the right motivated person.
Well, it's like this. Failure is unavoidable.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everybody needs to know that. Hey, guess what? You're going to fail.
Oh, but I on Facebook, nobody failed. I see nothing but success stories of everybody's doing great on Facebook. It's like,
oh yeah, vacations, trips, cruises. And I'm like, okay,
okay,
right.
Whatever.
What would happen if we were honest on social media? I think.
I don't think about that either.
But I know. But you know what? I did it one time. On Twitter. Because all these pastors that I know and they're friends of mine, they were so, you know, amazing service.
Yeah,
we had 42 million people in attendance today, you know, and, you know, over capsized our budget. We had just money, you know, whatever. And they would always say that. And so one Sunday, John, when we had a pretty crappy Sunday and I was so mad and we had low attendance, hardly anything came in to meet the budget. And so I went to my Twitter and I said, well, today sucked. Everything about today's church service sucked. Everybody, you know, and then I said #honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yay!
And you would not believe the response that I got from other pastors that said, "Oh my God, for once on social media, a pastor didn't lie."
And so much of what we do, we base off what we see. I know, and again, maybe I'm showing all my insecurities here on our podcast, which is bad. But I'll scroll through and I follow other film producers here in town, and everything. I'll see them like they're on a shoot, and I'm like, how'd you get that gig? I should have got that gig.
Right,
you know,
right.
Who, you know, and it's like, it's no big deal. There's plenty of work to go around. I've seen stuff like in Texas. I'm like, that looks like a really good gig. Maybe I should have went to Texas. And it's, you know, and I think part of that goes to, what you said before is the past. And I don't know, how much you speak to this in your book, but I know I was raised with my parents. I was an only child, but this was in the 70s, and my dad worked at a cigar manufacturing plant. He was a mechanic, and every Friday it was like, I still have my job. And it wasn't quite fear, but it was just like, we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to survive. And so much of that has been embedded in me that, and Angel and I talk about that all the time. I'm like, I feel guilty. It's like, I got nothing to do today. Maybe that's how the schedule worked out, or I'm working tonight. And I'm like, I just can't sit. I have to keep, if I stop for a minute, we're going to lose all the money, or something's going to happen. What is it about us that we do that?
Well, it's a lot of it is the mindset that we were raised with. And that's where it comes down to it. And mindsets is a fixed pattern of thinking, and sometimes we don't even realize that we have it.
Oh yeah.
But and we are to combat that. That's why people with those kind of mindsets, John, at times, when they do make a mistake in business, when they do not reach the budget, or their sales are not what they should be, it's the end of the world. And the truth of it is, it's a moment. It's not a monument.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay? It's a moment. And so any kind of mistake, any kind of failures that we have in business and in sales is just a moment. It's not a monument. So we got to look at it that way and realize, okay, it's just a season, or it's just a moment. It's not my whole life, Yep. And that's how we learn from these things.
Yeah, and that's what I tell and communicate to my folks in my full-time job in customer service. I said, the best learning you'll ever have is making a big mistake. I said, because I can teach you 1,000 different things.
Yeah.
And until you make that one mistake that kind of triggers everything I've told you, you may not really ever remember. And I find that I've learned over all my many years, the things that I did wrong,
right,
I've never forgotten. What I've not forgotten is never do it again.
Right, exactly.
Which doesn't necessarily mean I've figured out the right way, but I know what not to do. And I always tell people, don't worry. It's just, the world isn't ending. It's this one time. You're fine.
And Angel, you said it right there, because I wrote this in my book. Ann Baxter said, I wasn't afraid to fail. Something good always comes out of failure. Mm-hmm. And John, at times we don't look at it that way. We think only bad comes out of failure.
Right.
And so we're just like, and then it torments us, and then we're paralyzed. But here's what I do. Anytime I've made a mistake, anytime I've made a wrong decision or a wrong choice about this or that, and I'm not succeeding, when I've failed, I always ask, what can I learn from this? Mm-hmm. And I go right to my journal. You know what I mean? Okay, I did this wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. What have I learned from that? And then I write down maybe I haven't learned it yet, but this is the outcome that could be.
Yep.
And man, when you see that like that, you're like, oh my, this worked for me, not against me.
We're speaking with Rob Yanok. He is an author. He wrote Your Ultimate Comeback. He speaks to a lot of CEOs and corporate and individuals and tries to give them advice. And we thought this would be great to chat about the things we deal with in small business. And, you mentioned one thing, because we're talking about F words today. So you have fear and you have failure. And I think we do live in... There's a good fear that I don't want to fail versus people who just run out into the street in front of traffic.
Right.
But on the flip side, though, we all know the types. I know we've talked about it with different work situations with us where, oh, hey, here's a really great way that we could fix a problem. I don't know, we did that once before and it failed. Well, that was different. But no, I don't. And you find you've hit a wall of fear with somebody who's like, we did that in the past, or I don't know, that's going to work. Tell me a little bit about that balance. As far as not like you said, living in fear, but on the same time, you got to take risks when you're in small business.
In the chapter on failure in my book, I actually talk about these famous people: Albert Einstein, Oprah Winfrey, J.K. Rowling, Bill Gates, Walt Disney, and even Babe Ruth, who was considered the home run king.
Yes.
But what people don't realize, while he was in Major League Baseball and he was the great Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT, he was also the baseball's strikeout king. He had more strikeouts than any baseball player at that time in history. And here's what he said when the media said something to him about, well, yes, you got all these home runs, but you're leading the league in strikeouts. He said, every strikeout, and I love this, and I want to make sure I get it right, brings me closer to my next home run.
Right.
So every failure is going to bring me closer to my success.
That's wonderful.
Well, I mean, that's what we got to look at is, how we're dealing with that. I want to share. I'm going to share a quick story that happened with my daughter in the past weekend. I'd like you to share a little bit of a synopsis. It's a snip of a synopsis
Yes.
of the Buster Douglas story you've gotten there. But so my daughter Elaine, who's going to be a senior this year, which I'm so proud of, she's played volleyball her entire career, whatever that is. I mean, and of course, for those of you who have kids, travel ball. We've spent thousands of dollars on volleyball, and she's made the team, and rocks it. Well, last year about this time, she went to her tryouts for her JV varsity year, and I get a call from her, and she's upset, and she's like, "Dad, I got cut." "Oh, what do you mean you got cut? You got cut from varsity? You got cut from JV?" "No, I got cut. I'm not playing this year." I was devastated. And she was obviously devastated because we didn't see this on the radar. And, for a 16-year-old girl, this is her whole life has been wrapped around this. So I said, you've got two choices here. You can either decide that volleyball isn't your whole life and you've got other things you can work on, or you can start working on the volleyball. Left it up to her to figure out. I wasn't going to say, you must do this. She called me back the next day and says, I've decided I'm going to absolutely work so hard on volleyball that they will not have an opportunity to cut me. And she worked hard all over the year and did everything. And this past, just a few days ago, she made it onto her senior varsity year. And and I've said to people, she's going to have the best volleyball year this year because she so appreciates the fact that this is special. She very easily could have got cut again this year. Several girls did get cut, but she made it. She achieved this goal, and she turned, I don't think it would be quite as sweet if she had made the team last year. The fact she spent this year playing club ball and all that. So I do think there is something, it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, that failure does do something for us. It does something incredible for us when we have a failure opportunity and we can prove, hey, not maybe that time, but not a second time around. We're talking a lot of LeBron, and this is a lot of Ohio Buckeye folks here. We're talking about Buster Douglas, and for people who don't know, Angel, you know all about Buster Douglas?
I know his name. That's about the size of it.
Well, he's a Buckeye, so.
Oh, okay.
And I actually met Buster years ago. I was at ESPN Friday Night Fights. I think it was back in 2000, and ended up meeting him and connecting with him. And then he's a type 2 diabetic. I'm a type 2 diabetic, and my daughter's a type 1 diabetic. And we both been actively involved in the JDRF functions. And so, but I was inspired by his story in conversation with him one day that actually made me that inspired this book. It was February 11th, 1990. He was getting ready to fight the champ, Mike Tyson.
Wasn't this Japan or somewhere?
Tokyo, Japan. Yeah. He was in the Tokyo.
This was a big deal.
Oh, huge. But the odds against him were 42-1.
Yeah.
So there was, Vegas was saying there is no way that this unknown contender, even though he had won quite a few matches, is going to beat the champ. So what it was hailed as Tyson's comeback, because he had been off for a while, and this was his recovery match. Okay, so he's going to beat this unknown contender from Columbus, Ohio. Well, what many people knew at the time, but Buster Douglas's mom died just a few months prior to that, and he made a promise to her, John. He told her, "I'm going to win. I'm going to beat the champ, and I'm going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world." Well, the fight, the bell rings, and they start. It's a slugfest. I mean, they're going at it. You can still go on YouTube and watch the entire thing, and they've got it abbreviated too. But they get to the 8th round, and it's something else. Tyson is backed up into the corner of the ropes, and all of a sudden, he lands an upper right and sends Douglas all the way to the ground. Douglas got hit so hard that it knocked him, and Douglas was big and strong. He went to the ground. Well, here's another known fact in boxing. Anybody Mike Tyson hit that he knocked down never got up.
Yep.
He won as a knockout. 100% every one of his fights. So all of a sudden the referee's counting. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And all Buster could think about is the promise he made to his mom and his family. He was thinking about his sons and at the count of 9, with 1 second left, he got up. He got up. And so he gets up, and then the bell rings, goes into the 9th round. They're slugging it out in the 9th round, and then all of a sudden into 10th round. They are going at it, and he's laying hard into Tyson. And then everybody remembers, I mean, seriously, there was the jabs, the uppercut, and all of a sudden he sends Tyson to the ground. He hit Tyson so hard that it knocked his mouthpiece out of his mouth. And Time Magazine and Boxing Review got the picture, and that was the cover on newspapers all America. And so the referee started the count. And he hit Tyson so hard he knocked Tyson out. And
Wow.
he became the heavyweight champion of the world. And I asked the question in the book, what if he never would have got up? What if he would have decided, because he said he had never been hit that hard before. What if he would have said, well, you know what, I'm going to get
pounded now, even if I get back up.
If I get back up,
Yeah.
I'm going to get pounded. But if I stay down, I'm still going to get a couple million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I lose, I'm fighting the champ. I'm still going to get a couple million. I might as well just no. He said, I'm going to get up. And there has to be a resolve on the inside of every one of us, in our businesses, in our marriages, in our relationships, in our partnerships. We got to get back up when life slugs us or business is bad and it's not producing what we want to produce. We got to get back up. We got to stay in the fight, because guess what? The next 2 rounds, he became the heavyweight champion and changed his financial destiny forever.
Wow. That's a great story. And I'm
I'm going to have to go check that out on YouTube.
Well, and
what year was that again?
1990.
Yep.
Oh, I was graduating from college. Never mind.
you were busy doing something else.
I was busy doing other things, getting knocked down myself.
Well, but I think, as we talk about this, and this is so good, that, we all have our days. And I think it's what Rob said earlier is, we have a season and we think it's going to go on forever. We think this is the end, and it's like, no, it's a season. And and if you follow the stock market, anything else, there are seasons where the market drops, and then sometimes that's a good time to buy, and then the next thing it goes back up. And with our businesses, the thing we want to, with our podcast, is we want to encourage you, as we keep saying, it's like, you're living the dream. If you have a small business or you're thinking about starting a small business, live the dream. And maybe you will have some failures. Maybe you will start a business and maybe that one doesn't take. The next one might be the one, and you never know. But we want to encourage you to take that risk, because we do believe that everybody has a purpose, a design in their life to fulfill some great purpose. If you like the movie Patton, I must fulfill my destiny.
I love that.
It's a great line. So I hope whatever it is, you realize, if you're catching this today and it's like, you know what, I'm thinking about throwing in the towel. Don't do that yet.
No.
Hold on to it. Rob, tell me about your book, how people can get it, and all that fun stuff.
They can go to robyanok.com, or they can go to Amazon and get the ebook or get the paperback. It's available right now on sale, and we're getting ready to release it on Audible.
Nice.
Ooh. So yeah, we finished that, and it's getting all the technical stuff taken care of now. So it'll be on Audible, but they can get it on Amazon or my website right now.
So are you actually doing the voice?
I am. I went into the studio and read the entire book.
You didn't want to have Morgan Freeman do the? No,
that would have been awesome. Or you, John.
Oh, no,
man, you got a great voice for that.
I would have her do it if I had to do anything with it. But
I'm going to have to download that now.
Yes. See,
sure.
you got to get it on Audible. Well, again, all the links will be on our page here with the podcast. Please, if you would, subscribe and share this with others. We're a little different podcast, but we really think we have a lot of people out there who want to hear about encouragement for your small business. Live the dream, and we get Rob's book and anything else we want to add real quickly.
People may be interested in this. I'm getting ready also to release Your Ultimate Comeback Masterclass.
Oh, fun!
So it's going to be 10 lessons, and so there's going to be a workbook with it, and it'll be I think everybody will really like that. So
very neat.
Yeah.
Is it going to be on Amazon, or is it going to be like the
masterclass subscription thing? Or
I'm going to make it a subscription. It's going to be
nice.
we're going to launch it with a funnel, and hit it online. And I'm going to. Matter of fact, John and I are going to have to talk about it because I want him to video all the classes. So
there you go.
Okay. Woohoo.
That's what we do. You see, we're picking up business, hon. That's,
There you go.
The important thing when you get done today, when you see your spouse or whatever you do, just say, you know what I learned about today? I learned about the F word. And there you go. So thanks for listening. Live the dream.
Connect with John and Angel via Facebook and Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes is a production of Ondo Media.